In 2006, I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's leukemic lymphoma. My blood marrow was messed up and I couldn't make any red blood cells. I did 6 months worth of chemo, got into full remission, but as soon as I was done with that, they said, yeah, you're in full remission, but we suggest you get a bone marrow transplant because this stuff always comes back. It comes back faster and faster. Eventually, chemo will not help you at all. So I went to see the guru of gurus for bone marrows, and he told me what all it involved, and they basically poison you to almost death, and then they bring you back, and then you'll be on this med, and this med, because they ruin this organ, this organ, and this organ. But that was my best chance to live 5 years. In fact, I had a 60 to 70% chance of living 5 years. Well, that's 30 to 40% chance of not making it. So I thought maybe there's something different. My sister-in-law had been to a place called the Hippocrates Health Institute where she actually interviewed for a job. And she mentioned it, and I said, well, at this point, maybe I'll try that. I had a little time, I was in good shape. So I went down there over Thanksgiving of 2007. Just before I left, Mandy Tweedle, who's my massage therapist, told me that my spleen was getting lumpy again. Before it was rock hard. That's how I knew I had something wrong. And it didn't have cancer, but it caught all the debris from the bone marrow, so it was getting lumpy again. So that really got my attention. The doctors were right. It was coming back fast, and I needed to do something. So when I got to Hippocrates, I paid attention. I had religion, as they say. And I handed out a story, and I'll share that with anybody else, but basically it worked. And one of the main things that helped me cure my cancer, I'm now 63, I feel like I'm 33. People tell me how good I look. Not that I'm good looking, but how good I look. So anyway, it's really worked. One of the key ingredients is wheatgrass, and today is a wheatgrass class. That is the background. Part of my once I had that success story, Healthy Living magazine ran an article on me about my story. And they said, it's such a good story, we're going to put you on the cover. And so they did all the photos, and they wrote a very long story, which I proofread, and yes, it was great, and they got all the details right. And they said, well, we're going to come back and shoot you for the cover. And so they spent an hour and a half at my house taking pictures this way and that way. And finally the day arrived, it came out, and I went to get my cover, get my magazine, and on the cover was this. That's not even my hand, okay? So what happened is I guess I wasn't pretty enough, as I said before, but they went with this instead. It's still a very good article. It's got some cool pictures. This is one I really like. It's got a picture of myself, my wife, and I'm holding a pitchfork, kind of like American Gothic. Anyway, it's kind of cool. But we liked it. Anyway, that was my joke. On your seats, you will find 2 pieces of paper. One is my story, which I gave you a brief synopsis, which anybody who's watching this will have my email address, and I can send it to you electronically anywhere in the world. And feel free to share with anybody. This is a mission of mine. I'm not keeping this story to anyone, but it absolutely worked. Like I said, I'm 63. I feel like I'm 33. If I hadn't got cancer, I used to weigh 240, 250, 260. I now weigh 189, and it's amazing the difference doing this stuff. I'm 100% vegan. That means no dairy, no meat. I don't do those things. There's another paper. One is what this class is about, how to grow wheatgrass. And all the details are pretty much there. You can add a few little notes of your own from watching me, but if you've seen what I've done and you have this paper, you should be able to grow it. Growing wheatgrass is very easy. It's kind of like a chia pet. If you add water, it works. It's just amazing. This stuff was planted last Sunday evening. Okay, I planted this last Sunday evening about 6, 7 o'clock. That's 1 week's growth. I harvested the grass you're going to taste today this morning. I usually wait 12 more hours or so, but anyways, it grows plenty fine in just 1 week. So every week I plant. Now this I usually wait till a few more days to harvest. Let me get a little longer, get a little more growth. The key to wheatgrass before you harvest is if it splits, then it's becoming a mother plant. You want to harvest baby plants. They're the most nutritious. Sunflower sprouts, they have 2 leaves. When the thing starts in the center again, and it's the second set of leaves coming out, you want to harvest before that, because then there's still the baby. When it does that, it's the mother. It's the most nutritious. Sunflower sprouts are 35 times more nutritious than broccoli. 35 times more nutritious than broccoli, one of the best vegetables you've ever eaten. And they also are part of why I juice the weeks. I do 2 ounces of wheatgrass every morning now that I'm on maintenance. When I was sick, I did it twice a day, morning and evening. But now I just do the 2 ounces of wheatgrass in the morning. Then I do about 16 ounces of cucumber, celery, and sunflower sprouts. And that's my breakfast. That gets me going for the day. Also being juice, I'm in a fast from all night, and then you kind of continue a juice fast till noon. So I really only eat at noon, and then hopefully only 6, 7, 8 o'clock. Try not to eat past 8 o'clock. Digesting takes a lot of work from your body, and if you're digesting while you're sleeping, then you're wasting time repairing the damages. One reason why you might be interested in wheatgrass is it is so loaded with antioxidants. When I was sick, I was not allowed to do any kind of fruit or anything because sugar is helps cancer, and even blueberries help cancer. So I was not allowed to do any fruit, and I had my blood tested. The guy says, "You have no free radical damage. What are you doing for antioxidants?" I said, "Well, I do no fruit." And he looked at me, he says, "No way." And I said, "Well, what?" He says, "What do you do?" I said, "I start out with 2 ounces of wheatgrass." He says, "Never mind. Wheatgrass is low with antioxidants. It's the fountain of youth. If women understood this, they would be doing it like crazy just to stay young." But anyway, I'm going to show you how to grow it now. It's not too hard. It takes dirt. On the page, I like to use these gloves so I don't get too dirty. Buy cheap dirt. If you buy expensive organic dirt, it has more mold, and you'll have more mold problems. This dirt, you can see you can buy at Home Hardware in Leesburg. I would call ahead, make sure they have it. Once in a while he runs out, he has to buy it by the truckload, and he doesn't always have it, but 9 out of 10 times he does, and if he doesn't have it, he'll tell you when he's going to get it. But it's the best. You might want to buy, I buy like 10 bags at a time. It's $2 a bag. You can spend a lot more, but it won't be near as good. Next thing you do is you put about a 1/2 inch. It could be a 1/4 inch, it could be 3/4 inch, but about a 1/2 inch. Doesn't make a lot of difference. This is the boring part. I guess it's filling with some other talk. Oh, the seeds. I've been soaking the seeds. I soak the seeds overnight. That gives them a running start. That's how they can grow that fast in a week. I soak them overnight, and then I rinse them in a colander during the day. And I did that last night, and they're over there now. You want to compact the soil, and I'm going to do that now. You put another tray in, and you just push down on it. By compacting the soil, two things: it keeps it from running through the holes, and it's what I guess the seeds are looking for, because they sure grow well when you do it this way. This isn't an exact science. If you over-soak the seeds or under-soak them, or you don't plant them when you're supposed to, and you plant them 8 hours late like I've done, they grow anyway. It's amazing. So all these directions are just optimal. You can't mess up. Okay, if you're off by an hour or two, or off by a day or two, it'll probably work anyway. One thing I will tell you to do, be sure you buy your seeds from the place that's on that sheet. When I went to Hippocrates, the guy who gave the class said you can buy your sunflowers from anywhere, just any old cheap sunflowers work, and I was doing that. And I was having lots of problems getting them to grow. And then the person I gave my class to told me, he says, you need to buy good seed and call Got Sprouts, which is where I was buying my wheatgrass, and get your sunflowers there. Since I did that, I have never had a mold problem with sunflowers, and they grow like that. And it used to be I might get 1/4 of that a yield using the cheap stuff. So it definitely, if you're going to buy, you want to go to Got Sprouts. You can Google them, and call them on the phone, give them a credit card, and it'll be at your doorstep in a couple days. I buy 50-pound bags because I don't like and a 50-pound bag will last, 6-9 months. It winds up being about $2 a tray, which winds up being 25 cents an ounce. And you probably pay $3 or $4 in a store to get an ounce or two. And the other thing about wheatgrass is you can buy it frozen, but my understanding is it's best if you if you drink it within 15 minutes of making it. You can't make it in the morning and then drink it at night, or you lose a lot of its potency. So if you're buying it frozen, it's way better than nothing, but it's not near as good as growing it yourself. The other thing I do is I grow this stuff in my kitchen. I have a 3-foot cart on wheels, and I roll it in and out of the house every night to water it. And then I'm giving off carbon dioxide, and it's giving off oxygen, and that's kind of a nice symbiotic relationship. I'm going to plant 4 trays. Oops, got to put the dirt in first. 4 trays, so 1 more and I'll be ready to go. Right now I'm just basically making juice for myself. My wife drinks a little bit of wheatgrass. She's also vegan. She was a vegetarian for 40 years, so it wasn't easy for her to go vegan, but she just doesn't like the juice yet. So, and she knows about the antioxidant thing, but it doesn't really agree with her that well. She's taking little sips trying to get back into it for a while. She just quit. So I'm only raising two trays of each a week. So I'm going to plant 4 trays. This is my planting. I won't have to do it tonight. There's a method to my madness.
You grow it under lights, Jim?
I'm glad you brought that up. Light. You do not want lots of lights. When I first moved it, the reason why I moved it indoors, first I brought the sunnies in because the squirrels were eating through the trays to get to them, okay? And during the class, one thing he said, don't give it too much light, just enough that you can see by. Not that, if you can read by it, it's almost too much. So in my kitchen, I got one switch with 1 bank of lights and then another switch with 3, so you can have 4 banks of lights in my kitchen. So when I first moved the wheatgrass in, I thought, wow, I can grow it. And I left it on 24/7 with all that light, and it wasn't growing at all. When you think about it, grass grows a lot faster in the shade than it does in the sun. So you really want low light. It will grow a lot faster. It will grow like that in a week under low light during the day and no light at night. So you want it to be dark. And I think I have it on that sheet, but do not give it too much light or you're shooting yourself in the foot. On the watering, just enough to water it. You just, huh? Just to dampen it. As these guys get bigger, they get a little thirstier. You just need things damp. Since you mentioned it, I had a cheap watering can that had like 6 holes in it. You're going to see I'm going to spread this seed out very carefully. And if you do it that way, it kind of pushes it all and makes it in rows. And so all the work I did to spread it out evenly didn't work. So if that one has lots of holes in it, it's a lot more expensive, but it works. All right, we're going to plant wheatgrass first because it's on top. This is what it looks like. It's got little tiny tails that have already started. And I didn't start soaking it till 10 o'clock last night. I slept in this morning, so it went 10 hours underwater instead of 8. I predict it'll look like that in a week, even though I slept in. So you don't have to set alarms to turn out to get to your wheatgrass on time.
I'm getting mold in mine, Jim. Do you get mold in yours?
Yes, ma'am. The question was, she gets mold in her wheatgrass. I have harvested very few trays without mold. You cut above the mold. I had one lady tell me, I can't grow wheatgrass. I said, well, I've tried about 5 or 6 times. It gets moldy every time. I just throw it away. I go, oh, well, you threw away a lot of good wheatgrass because it's a function. I had to have it because I had it to get it better. So I just cut above the mold. There's been a few times where it looked like it snowed inside, where there was like a white snow an inch or 2 up. And I just cut above that and did it, and it works fine. That's just, but if you use I can't speak highly enough of God Sprouts. They were recommended to us by Hippocrates, and even though they didn't recommend their sunflowers, please take their sunflowers. These are neat too. These colanders are stainless steel. There's 3 of them for $40. From Pampered Chef. They're a little expensive, but they're stainless steel. They're forever. They don't let little seeds go through, so that's a nice thing to have too. All right, I've done the wheatgrass. Now I put trays on top and set them aside.
What is the measurement of the wheatgrass before you soak it?
Okay.
A cup?
The measurement, it says on the sheet there you use 1.5 cups, and anybody's watching this, email it me, I'll email you the sheet. It says on there 1.5 cups. You do need to cover it by 1 inch of water, because if you don't, it'll swell up above the water. So cover it by at least 1 inch of water. If you try to cover the sunnies by 1 inch of water, you'll never be successful because they float. Leave 1 inch of water underneath them, or 2, because the bowl is shaped. These are the bowls I actually soaked them in, and then I drain them in. All right, you put another, all right, that's a good, the question is, why do I put a tray on top of it? I put a tray on top of it so it thinks it's down on the ground. It's nice and dark. You leave the trays, and it's on those sheets, by the way. You trick it into think it's in the ground still, so it starts growing. When it pushes the tray to where it's to the top of the other tray, the trays are about 1.5 inches deep. So when it's level, and with wheatgrass that's 2 days, with sunflowers that's 3 days, you take them off, and then at that time they're white or yellow, and then they'll turn green and grow like crazy. But for the first couple days, you cover them with the tray. The thing about sunnies is they need to feel like they're pushing up through more dirt than the grass does. So what you do with the sunnies is you put the tray of grass on top of the tray of sunnies to give it a little extra weight. The grass only has a tray to push up. The sunnies will have 2 trays, 3 trays actually, and the grass and the dirt for the grass to push up. It makes it feel like they got to push harder. It just works. It's how I was told to do it, and it works. So it's on that sheet too. Anyway, so those are planted. Again, I put trays on top. And then these are the sunnies. You water them, and every time you water them, I have racks to do that. I can't do that here. But every time you water them, you take all the lids off, water them, and unstack them. And then when they've been watered, then you stack it back until they're tall enough, then you don't do it anymore. But you put the wheatgrass on top of the sunnies to give them the weight so they feel like they've got to push a little harder to get out. I usually put a rug down, but I didn't this time, so the table's a little dirty. Anyway, so that's how you plant wheatgrass. Any more questions on that?
You got any ideas about?
Well, I've been told that it's not as potent the second time around. You can let it grow again and keep harvesting, and it's still good. Basically, if you look on the back of the one sheet, what you're going for is the chlorophyll. Yeah. And if you look at the back, they told me that that the 2 molecules are very similar, and if you look, they are very similar. The only difference is one has iron in the middle, and the other one has magnesium in the middle. Chlorophyll has magnesium in the middle, and hemoglobin has. So you're so close to blood, it's unreal. And that's why it is so beneficial to you, and it really helps you heal and stuff. You water them every night.
Every night.
It's on the sheet, but you do water them every night. You take them out, take them all apart, take all the trays apart, take all the trays off the top, and then you just water them. Let me get this real quick. You water them to get them wet, basically. And if you water them too much, you run the water through the holes, and it'll, just get them soaked is all. And do that every night, and it works. Towards the end, these guys need a little bit more water than the rest of the week because they use a lot more. You'll notice if one morning you notice they're kind of laying flat because you didn't give them enough water. Okay, and then once a few days into it, all the roots have taken. When you cut this wheatgrass and take the mat out, it's like a carpet. You can't pull it apart. Okay, but it will almost always. 3 or 4 times I may not have seen mold, but I don't even look at the mold, so I may have been more. And there may be some there you just can't see, but not all mold is bad for you. So I think penicillin does pretty well for you. All right, now we're going to make some wheatgrass. Is everybody ready for a shot? And since we got this many people, everybody's going to get a full shot because I brought lots of wheatgrass. If we had 100 people, I was going to give everybody a little bit, but these can be bought at Simon Seed. It's the only place I know you can get these trays. It used to be you get them for free at Lowe's, but they don't have these trays anymore. These are 4 for $5. The one and they work just as well as the one at Hippocrates, which I paid $4 each for. Your call. So these are 4 for $5. You need it. The question is, do you grow it on patio where it's overcovered and kind of dark? You're better off growing in your garage where the squirrels can't get in and there's just a little bit of light. You might just leave one light bulb on in your whole garage. That would be appropriate light, but be sure to turn it off at night. You have it outdoors, squirrels are going to get into it. Screened in helps, but you do want any direct sunlight, and the dimmer the better. I've got, in growing it indoors, we have these little things pop off, and you have little sunflower hulls all over your house, but they're clean, they don't hurt anything.
And how about temperature?
Temperature, you need to, that's what's the beauty of the indoors, because when it gets cold out, it doesn't grow. I mean, it won't die unless it froze, but it does not grow. So the temperature, one of the advantages of indoors is that you have very consistent temperature, and it grows every week in 7 days. And I do this every day. I mean, I don't miss a day. I do it every day. So if you're doing it every day, you want your wheatgrass to be successful. And it has never failed me since '07. So that's pretty consistent. All right, we're going to get started here. I brought a towel just in case this gets too loud. This squeaks I think like balloons. When people are twisting balloons, you'll see. Is that not too bad with the mic? Okay, we'll be all right. Oh, this juicer, which is on the sheet also. When I went to Hippocrates, they had one they recommended, the Omega, Juice Power thing. This is the Omega. That was Juice Power. It was $500, and it was a pain to clean. This is $300, and it's easy to clean. Your call. This is called Omega. It's on your sheet. Everything should be there for you, except for I didn't do the Pampered Chef. If you want those colanders, I can get you that too if you need it. I think I'm just going to make one bag. It presses it out. If you have a Jack LaLanne, it will not make it. If you don't want anything that chops, because it will overheat the wheatgrass, it messes up the pulp. You really don't want the pulp. The pulp won't hurt you. All you want is just the juice, the chlorophyll, if you will. And I tell you, it's like, Popeye opens that can of spinach and he's got all kinds of energy. Wheatgrass will do the same thing for you. I do this in the morning, every day, and I have more energy. For a guy who's 63, it's amazing. I really feel like I'm getting younger. I will live to be 120 easily, and I won't be with a walker at 120. I'll be like this. Yes, sir. The question is, can you make a smoothie? I think it's a sacrilege. I don't know. You can throw when you do carrots. For 2 years I did no carrots. Carrots are loaded with sugar. I do carrots. Okay, well if you got cancer, you're probably feeding your cancer, because cancer thrives on sugar. It absolutely thrives on sugar. I did no blueberries, fruit of any kind for 2 years because I had cancer. So a green smoothie. Again, if you put it in a blender to make a smoothie, you're messing this up. You need one of these juicers to use this. If you don't buy one of these juicers, you can buy little hand ones on the internet for like $50. But if you're going to do this every day, and to me, if you do this every day, you're going to be like this at 63. Part of the reason why I do this is so people can see that an old guy can look like he's doing pretty well. So. Anyway, I wouldn't recommend it for smoothies, no. You just do you can try and make it taste better, but it does, you're going to see it doesn't taste bad. To me, it has kind of a licorice flavor. If you don't like licorice, well, it has kind of a grass flavor. But no, I've never done anything but straight wheatgrass. You could put more the question was, do you ever put herbs in it? I wouldn't know what herbs to put in it. My understanding of health is basically what I learned at Hippocrates. And the thing they teach you there is that your body will heal itself if you just give it what it needs and you stop giving it what it doesn't need. And that's half the battle, stop giving it what it doesn't need. You look at the American diet, it's very acidic. Cancer thrives in an acidic, low-oxygen environment. And our diet is very acidic. Meat is very acidic. And while I'm on my soapbox here, people say, well, what do you do for protein? I don't know, did you ever see a bull or a horse? Do they have a steak once in a while, or maybe some eggs or cheese? You know, you really don't need protein. It's highly overrated by the meat and dairy industries. When I went to school, they had the 4 major food groups. One was meat, one was dairy and eggs. That's half your diet, right? The other one was fruits and vegetables, and the other was nuts and grains. I mean, anyway, I skip half of that, and I'm doing very, very well. I have lots of energy, lots of strength. Mother's milk is 90% carbs, 5% protein, 5% amino fatty acids, and you double your weight your first year. And people who are really hooked on cow's milk, dairy, eggs, cheese and stuff, how fast does a calf get from this to this? Just think of it. I mean, it's not designed for human consumption. But anyway, that's what I've heard and I tend to believe. All right, I think we got a pretty good thing here. I tell you what, I'll serve everybody 1 ounce, and if you want more, I'll grind more later, or press more later, and give you all you want. All right? But we're all going to try it. And I'll get around to the front of the stage. It's real green, very green. It tastes like grass. So, line starts right here. You have to come up. It's really not too bad. People who have bought it in stores say that this tastes better.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now this was cut today and ground today, so that's about as fresh as it gets. Here you go, cousin. Yeah. Here you go. And I'll make more later if somebody wants more. How are we doing here? I got plenty more. Somebody get me some.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sir.
Here.
Thank you.
You got the right shirt on.
Yeah.
I feel like I just need some bread and some fish, and I'll be good.
Thank you, sir.
2 loaves of, was it 2 loaves of bread and 7 fish?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. You got any more? Now, this is probably $2 or $3 worth at the store. It cost me $2 to make the whole pot, if you will. Mm-hmm. There you go. Anybody else? I got some here for Michelle. Huh?
I'll have my second.
Oh, here.
Thanks. How much do you drink a day?
I drink a whole one of those.
That's it? That's all you need?
That's all you need. It's very potent stuff.
Can you store that in the refrigerator for the next day?
You cannot store it. You want to drink it within 15 minutes of making it. All right, I got some for the camera guy. Gary, there you go. You can take a picture of it, but you can also drink it, please. And Michelle.
Thank you, Jim.
Got a little left if anybody needs more. Everybody try it?
Waste not.
Okay. All right. So how'd it taste? Kind of a licorice, grassy taste? Not too bad, kind of sweet? The thing that's interesting about it is the reason why they chose wheatgrass is not that wheatgrass is the most powerful, it's the most palatable. I haven't tried it yet, but my guess is you could juice Bahia or St. Augustine, because what's really important is that little chlorophyll model. And this happens to have a lot of really great chlorophyll that's easy to get when you juice it. So, and with that, I think I'm done. But we're going to run my email address and my phone, not my phone number. Well, I have a phone number too. If people want to talk to me about cancer, I'm always open to talk to, but they have to read my story first. Because if I try to explain it, I leave out huge gaps. And I want them to read it. And if they realize they got to drink green stuff, I have one of my best friends saw me cure myself. And then when he got cancer, he had to do it the the real way, and he wasn't about to do any green stuff, and he's dead. So that was his choice. But so anyway, thank you.